Imagine this. You are on the ship in a cruise vacation. You've made it through security, found your cabin, and just when you're ready to relax, boom. A call from guest services. Please report to the naughty room. Yep. Something you packed is now banned. Cruise lines have quietly rolled out new restrictions for 2025, and some of them are seriously unexpected. Miss just one, and you could lose your gear, or even your entire cruise. Let's break down 12 new banned items, including one that's already cost passengers thousands. All right, let's dive into our first category of newly banned items, which covers personal audio and connectivity devices. Kicking things off at number 1 is an item that for many of us has become an essential travel companion, the portable Bluetooth speaker. It seems like a no-brainer, right? You're packing for your week of sun and sea, and you imagine yourself relaxing on your private balcony, a gentle breeze blowing, with your favorite vacation playlist setting the perfect mood. Or perhaps you're someone who relies on a familiar sound to drift off to sleep, so you toss your trusty white noise machine into your luggage. It's a common habit, and for years, it was perfectly acceptable. But in 2025, this is one of the first habits you'll need to break. The first thing you'll want to leave at home is your Bluetooth speaker or white noise machine. Cruise lines, with Carnival leading the charge, have implemented a strict, fleet-wide ban on these devices. And this isn't just a rule for the public pool decks. It applies everywhere, even inside the privacy of your own cabin. So, what's behind this seemingly drastic measure? It boils down to 2 critical factors: noise complaints and, more importantly, passenger safety. Let's talk about the noise issue first. Cruise ship cabins are marvels of engineering, but they aren't soundproof fortresses. The walls are notoriously thin, and sound travels with surprising ease. What might seem like a reasonable volume to you in your room can sound like a persistent, thumping bass line to your neighbors on either side, as well as above and below you. Cruise lines were being inundated with complaints. Imagine trying to enjoy a quiet afternoon nap before dinner, only to be disturbed by the party happening next door. Or, picture a family with a young child trying to get to sleep, but the white noise machine from the adjacent cabin is buzzing loudly through the wall. These situations create tension and lead to a constant stream of calls to guest services, forcing crew members to act as noise police instead of focusing on enhancing your vacation. The cruise lines decided that a blanket ban was the simplest and most effective way to ensure a peaceful environment for everyone on board. But the most compelling reason for the ban is safety. Every cruise ship is equipped with an internal public address system, which is crucial for broadcasting emergency announcements. These could be anything from a fire alarm to a security alert, or instructions to proceed to your muster station. If you are in your cabin with a speaker playing music or a white noise machine humming away, you might not hear these critical, life-saving announcements. In an emergency, every second counts. The inability of even one passenger to hear instructions could have serious consequences, not just for them, but for the crew members who might have to track them down. By eliminating these external sound sources, cruise lines ensure that their primary safety communication system can reach everyone, unimpeded. So, if you need your personal soundscape, the solution is simple and still perfectly allowed. Pack a good pair of wired or wireless earbuds. You can listen to your music, podcasts, or white noise apps as loud as you like without disturbing anyone or missing a vital ship-wide message. Now for the second major category on our banned list, personal internet devices. In an age where staying connected is paramount, this one hits hard for digital nomads and tech-savvy travelers. The second banned item is Starlink and similar personal satellite dishes, as well as all Wi-Fi sharing devices and mobile hotspots. For a while, bringing your own satellite receiver seemed like the ultimate cruise hack. You could bypass the ship's often slow and expensive internet service and enjoy high-speed connectivity from the comfort of your own cabin. However, those days are officially over. cruise lines have invested hundreds of millions of dollars upgrading their own fleets with high-speed satellite internet, often using the very same Starlink technology. They now consider their onboard Wi-Fi a core ancillary service, a significant source of revenue, and a system they need to control completely for security and performance. Allowing thousands of passengers to operate their own satellite dishes or create private hotspots would create chaos for their carefully managed networks. The issue is twofold. First, there's signal interference. A multitude of personal hotspots broadcasting simultaneously can degrade the quality of the ship's official Wi-Fi for everyone. It creates a noisy radio frequency environment that can slow down the network and cause connection drops, even for those who have paid for the ship's package. To combat this, cruise lines are now actively scanning for rogue networks. Their IT teams can pinpoint the source of an unauthorized hotspot with surprising accuracy. Second, it's about enforcing their terms of service. When you buy a Wi-Fi package, the agreement you accept almost always forbids sharing that connection. If you're caught using a travel router to share a single paid Wi-Fi plan with your whole family, or using your phone's hotspot feature to do the same, you can expect a knock on your cabin door. The consequences can range from a simple warning to having your devices confiscated until the end of the cruise. In some cases, they may even terminate your internet access for the remainder of the voyage, with no refund. The rule is clear: one paid plan, one device at a time, unless you purchase a multi-device package. That brings us to our third banned item, which families have relied on for decades to stay in touch on sprawling megaships: walkie-talkies. For parents who want to give their kids a bit of freedom to explore the arcade or the kids' club, these two-way radios seemed like a perfect, low-cost solution for checking in. Similarly, many parents of infants have packed audio-only baby monitors to keep an ear on their sleeping child while they sit on the balcony just a few feet away. Unfortunately, these devices are now also on the prohibited list. The reason is, once again, signal interference, but this time, the stakes are much higher. Walkie-talkies, even the low-power FRS or GMRS models you can buy at any electronics store, operate on radio frequencies. The problem is that a massive moving steel ship is an incredibly complex radio environment. The ship's crew relies on a dedicated set of radio channels for critical operational and safety communications. This includes communication between the bridge and engineering, security teams, and mooring crews during docking procedures. A passenger's walkie-talkie, or even a baby monitor, can inadvertently bleed over onto these restricted frequencies, creating static or blocking a crucial message. Imagine a bridge officer trying to give a critical helm command during a tricky maneuver in a busy port, only to have their transmission garbled by a child on Channel 5, asking if they can get another slice of pizza. The potential for a serious accident is real, and it's a risk that no cruise line is willing to take. Because of this, all personal two-way radios and monitors are now banned, regardless of their power output. They will be confiscated during the initial security screening at the terminal. So what's the alternative for staying in touch? The cruise lines have an answer for that too. Most now have their own smartphone apps with a built-in chat or messaging feature. This function typically requires the purchase of a Wi-Fi plan, but it allows you to text anyone else on the ship who also has the app and a plan. It's a secure, reliable way to coordinate with your family and friends without jeopardizing the ship's safety. And if all else fails, there's always the old-school method. Leave a note on the cabin door. All right, let's talk about one of the most frequently asked and debated topics in the world of cruising: bringing your own alcohol on board. For many, enjoying a glass of wine on the balcony as the sun sets is a quintessential part of the vacation. But cruise lines have very specific and increasingly strict rules about what you can and can't bring. It's a delicate balance for them, managing passenger enjoyment, onboard revenue, and of course, safety. The policies are designed to prevent overconsumption and to ensure that all alcohol served meets their standards. So before you start packing that case of your favorite brew, let's break down exactly what the 2025 rules look like, because getting this wrong can lead to disappointment and confiscation right at the start of your trip. The good news first. Most major cruise lines, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian, Maintain a fairly consistent policy that allows you to bring a limited amount of wine or champagne. The standard rule is one sealed 750 milliliter bottle per adult who is of legal drinking age. So, for a couple sharing a cabin, that's 2 bottles for the entire cruise. It's crucial that the bottle is commercially sealed and unopened. Security will inspect it, and if the seal is broken or looks tampered with, they will confiscate it. This allowance is a nice perk, letting you enjoy a specific vintage you love or save a little money. Remember to pack these bottles in your carry-on luggage, not your checked bags. This prevents breakage and ensures it can be inspected properly at the security checkpoint. Now, if you want to enjoy your personal bottle in a public area like the main dining room or a specialty restaurant, be prepared for a corkage fee. This is a service charge for the crew to open and serve your wine, and it typically runs between $15 and $25 per bottle. It's a courtesy to the staff and acknowledges that you're using their service and glassware. Now for the bad news. That generous one-bottle rule does not extend to other forms of alcohol. Next up, boxed wine. While it might seem like a cost-effective and convenient option, it's universally banned. The primary reason is security. The bag-and-box design is incredibly difficult for security staff to inspect non-invasively. Unlike a glass bottle, they can't easily verify that the contents haven't been tampered with or replaced. Furthermore, a standard 3-liter box of wine is equivalent to 4 750 milliliter bottles, far exceeding the personal allowance and creating a pathway for excessive consumption. So, leave the box at home. The same goes for beer and hard liquor. These are strictly prohibited from being brought on board. Cruise lines generate a significant portion of their revenue from the sale of alcoholic beverages, and allowing passengers to bring their own cases of beer or bottles of spirits would severely undercut their business model. More importantly, it's a matter of safety and liability. By controlling the service of all hard alcohol and beer, the cruise line can better monitor consumption and ensure their bartenders are following responsible service protocols. Trying to sneak these items on board is a losing game. Security has seen every trick in the book, from fake shampoo bottles to hidden flasks, and your contraband will almost certainly be found and confiscated, with no refund and no return at the end of your cruise. Moving from booze to, well, a different kind of social signal. Here's a weird one: upside-down pineapples. For years, this has been a quirky way for cruisers to decorate their cabin doors. But what started as an innocent tropical symbol has taken on a very specific and very different meaning in certain circles. That quirky door magnet? Turns out it's a widely recognized signal for swinging or partner swapping. It's an invitation for like-minded couples to connect. As you can imagine, this led to some confusion. Unsuspecting families who just thought a pineapple was a fun, fruity decoration found themselves receiving unwelcome attention. There were stories of awkward knocks on the door and suggestive glances in the hallway, all because of a misplaced piece of fruit decor. To put an end to the misunderstandings and maintain a family-friendly environment, major lines like Carnival have now banned all decorations, including magnets, from cabin doors and balconies. It's a simple solution to a surprisingly complex social issue that was playing out in their hallways. Finally, let's talk about power. In our hyper-connected world, we travel with a small army of electronic devices: phones, tablets, cameras, smartwatches, e-readers, and they all need charging. So another item you'll need to rethink is the humble multi-plug outlet. It seems like a no-brainer to pack a power strip or surge protector to charge everything at once, right? Wrong. Cruise lines, particularly Royal Caribbean, have cracked down hard on these devices. The reason is fire safety. A ship's electrical system is a closed, carefully balanced grid. It's not designed to handle the variable and often high loads from multiple consumer-grade power strips, especially those with built-in surge protectors. A faulty device or an overloaded circuit can create a significant fire hazard, which is the single biggest threat on any vessel at sea. Because of this risk, Royal Caribbean now bans most plug extenders and all surge protectors. If one is found in your luggage, it will be confiscated and held until the end of the cruise. So what's the solution? The key is to look for non-surge protected, cruise-approved power options. The only type of extender explicitly allowed by most lines are multi-port USB hubs. These devices plug into a single outlet, but provide multiple USB-A or USB-C ports for charging your low-power devices like phones and watches. They don't have surge protection and are designed to draw a safe, predictable amount of power. This is the single best investment you can make for managing your electronics on a cruise. This is especially critical on older ships. While newer vessels are being built with more outlets and USB ports, many ships in the existing fleets were designed before our device-heavy era. It's not uncommon to find a cabin with just one or two available electrical outlets, often in inconvenient locations. If you're traveling with family, that's simply not enough. So plan ahead. A good USB hub will be your best friend, ensuring everyone can stay charged up without breaking the rules or creating a safety risk. Let's talk about drones. Most cruise lines won't let you bring or use them. Some ports even consider them illegal. One traveler was arrested. Stick to your phone for those epic shots. Pool noodles, floaties. They're no longer allowed for safety reasons. Only ship-provided life vests are permitted. Sorry, no giant flamingos this time. Now for something eco-focused. Non-reef safe sunscreen. Hawaii, Mexico, the Virgin Islands. Certain sunscreens are banned to protect coral reefs. Pack reef-safe options or risk fines ashore. Now for our 10th surprising ban, and this is one that catches a lot of people completely off guard, often turning a relaxing sea day into an awkward encounter with ship security. It's something many people do at home with friends without a second thought. We're talking about playing a casual game of poker for cash. Picture this. You're on a beautiful sea day, maybe in a quiet lounge or on your private balcony, and you and your friends decide to pass the time with a deck of cards. It's a classic vacation pastime. A friendly game of gin rummy or hearts? Absolutely fine. Cruise lines have no issue with that. But the moment real money hits the table, the situation changes entirely. Even if it's just a tiny $5 buy-in, that friendly game is now considered unregulated gambling in the eyes of the cruise line. And that is not fine at all. The reason for this strict rule is twofold. First, and most importantly, are the legal and regulatory requirements. A ship's casino operates under a very specific and expensive gaming license, governed by maritime law and the ship's flag state. These licenses come with stringent regulations about how, when, and where gambling can occur. Allowing private, unregulated cash games anywhere else on the ship would be a serious violation of that license, potentially putting the cruise line at risk of massive fines or even having their entire casino operation shut down. It's a risk they simply cannot afford to take. Secondly, it's a matter of passenger security and dispute resolution. If a disagreement breaks out during a private cash game, say someone accuses another player of cheating or refuses to pay up, who is supposed to mediate? Ship security is not equipped or authorized to settle gambling debts. To prevent these potential conflicts, which can easily escalate and ruin the vacation for everyone involved, they enforce a zero-tolerance policy. So what happens if you're caught? Typically, a crew member or security officer will approach you and politely but firmly ask you to put the cash away. They will explain that gambling outside the casino is strictly prohibited. Even a $5 bet can get your game shut down instantly. For a first offense, it's usually just a warning. But repeated violations could lead to more serious consequences, including being confined to your cabin or being noted as a problematic passenger. The simple rule is, if you want to gamble, do it in the casino. That's what it's there for. Next up, at number 11, is a critically important rule change that directly impacts travelers with mobility needs. This is a significant shift in policy, particularly with some UK-based cruise lines, and it's vital to be aware of it to avoid a heartbreaking situation at the cruise terminal. The new rule is this. You may be denied boarding if you arrive with a wheelchair or mobility scooter, but have not booked a designated accessible cabin. This might sound harsh, but it's rooted in genuine safety concerns. Standard cruise ship cabins are not designed for wheelchair or scooter access. The doorways are typically too narrow, usually between 22 and 23 inches wide, which is not enough for most mobility devices to pass through. Furthermore, there's often a lip at the entrance to the bathroom, and the bathrooms themselves are too small to maneuver a wheelchair in. The primary concern is emergency evacuation. In a crisis, if a passenger cannot safely get out of their cabin because their mobility device is blocking the narrow entryway, it poses a grave risk to them, their cabin mates, and the crew members responsible for assisting them. Cruise lines have a legal and moral obligation to ensure all passengers can be evacuated safely. If your wheelchair is stored in the narrow hallway of the cabin, it becomes a dangerous obstacle. Accessible cabins, by contrast, are specifically designed to solve these problems. They feature wider doorways, larger turning radiuses inside the room, and fully accessible bathrooms with roll-in showers and grab bars. Booking one of these rooms ensures that you can move about your personal space safely and that you won't impede an emergency exit. Because these cabins are limited in number, cruise lines now require passengers who need them to book them specifically. So, what's the takeaway? It is absolutely crucial that when you book your cruise, you declare any and all mobility devices you plan to bring. Be upfront with your travel agent or the cruise line representative. They will guide you to book the correct type of stateroom. Simply showing up on embarkation day with a wheelchair you didn't declare could result in you being turned away at the port, with no cruise and no refund. Plan ahead, communicate your needs, and book the right room. And finally, our 12th surprising ban is a fashion choice that could land you in serious trouble, not with the cruise line, but with law enforcement at your port of call. We're talking about camouflage clothing. While it might be a popular and stylish pattern in many parts of the world, in certain destinations, wearing it is illegal for civilians. This law is particularly common in a number of Caribbean nations, including popular cruise stops like Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Antigua, and Grenada, as well as in some African and Middle Eastern countries. The reason behind these laws is to prevent civilians from being mistaken for military or police personnel. In these countries, camouflage patterns are reserved exclusively for their official armed forces. A tourist wearing camo, no matter how innocently, can create confusion and is seen as undermining the authority of the official military. The ban applies to all types of camouflage items, not just shirts and pants, but also hats, bags, shorts, and even bikini tops. The enforcement can be very strict. There are numerous stories of tourists being stopped by local authorities upon arrival. Because of the potential for serious trouble, cruise lines have become much more proactive in warning their guests. You will now often see notices in the ship's daily planner the day before arriving in a port with these laws. The cruise director might make an announcement over the ship's PA system, and you may even receive a notice in your cabin. They are trying to protect you from a very unpleasant experience. The consequences for ignoring these warnings can range from being forced to change clothes immediately, to having the items confiscated, to facing significant fines. In the most extreme cases, it could even lead to detainment or arrest. It's a simple thing to avoid. When packing for a cruise, especially one in the Caribbean, just leave the camo at home. It's not worth the risk of ruining a day in paradise, or potentially your entire vacation, over a piece of clothing. Final tip: cruise rules change constantly. What was fine last year might get you flagged this time. Always check your cruise line's latest banned items before packing. What's the weirdest thing you've seen confiscated on a cruise? Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for more travel updates. Safe sailing.